And welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the book Confessions on the 745 by Lisa Unger. Confessions on the 745. Yes, another day, another thriller slash mystery. But I promise y'all, I have read other books. I have read other genres, and like I've got some good romance ones coming up. I even have a self-help one coming up. But I just have so many books that I've read that I want to get to on the channel. So the order that I'm doing them in is just like I'm trying to get books out that are more recent than others. So yeah, I promise you this isn't turning into a mystery suspense thriller channel. There will be other book recommendations and book reviews coming in the coming weeks and months and so forth. But today we are talking about this one, Confessions on the 745. And you can always tell like by covers pretty much what genre a book is in, and with this one, that's a window which looks like it's on a subway or a train or something. So, and then you talk about the time here. So that kind of gives you an indication that something happened on a train, right? That's what the blurb tells you right off the bat. Selena Murphy is commuting home from her job in the city when the train stalls on the tracks. She strikes up a conversation with a beautiful stranger in the next seat who introduces herself as Martha. The woman confesses that she's been stuck in an affair with her boss, and Selena in turn confesses that she suspects her husband is having an affair with the nanny. When the train arrives at Selena's station, the two women part ways, presumably, to never see each other again. You just confessed, a secret or something that you feel or something that you have a suspicion about to a stranger or something that you've done. So yeah, you don't want to see them again, right? But days later, Selena's nanny disappears. So let's just back up here, And one of the things that Selena said on that train when she was saying that the husband was having an affair with the nanny, it was kind of like some banter about the nanny, getting rid of the nanny. And then the nanny disappears. So yeah, so then Selena's life goes into a tailspin after that. Because she's pulled into, she obviously wants to know what happened to the nanny. But as the police get involved, now they're looking at her and they're looking at her husband, because it comes out that, that maybe it was an actual affair, and could he be guilty? Or could Selena be the one that have gotten, rid of the nanny? Or who is Martha? And did she have something to do with it? So yeah, so there's just so many moving pieces to this particular story. And it is like some past and present tense points of view or timelines. It's like that dual timeline as we get backstory on the marriage between Selena and her husband, and just who Martha really is. And that whole piece with her background, I was just like, what the actual hell? It was just crazy. It was just crazy who she was, how she came to be, what she was doing. Her motivation in the story and her part in the story, and how she and Selena were actually connected. I feel like the author, when authors are able to give you like this story, like you're engrossed in the story for one reason, but they're feeding you other pieces of information and other pieces of stories because there's a bigger reason that you should be, concerned or focused or, thinking this is going to go another way. And, it keeps taking your attention away. And I will say, for some people, if you don't really like that kind of story, if you like for things to kind of stay on a straight line, I don't know if this one is for you. But I will tell you, all the different paths and things that the author, she takes you on and gives you all this information, and you're up and you're down and you're around, it does all come back to a straight line. At the end, it does all come back to a straight line. I feel like with some of the stuff, I kind of figured it out early, and I was right. I don't necessarily like that in books. I like to be, wrong, but I could see when it was all said and done why the author did what she did. But just know, like, there will be a couple of twists that you may figure out early, and maybe you won't. Maybe I've gotten to the point, because I've been reading so many of these types of books, that I can recognize, certain things. But yeah, the 6 degrees of separation in this book is just wild. And that is the part where I was like, so all this time, that's what your goal was? That's what your goal was? I mean, I get it, but it just left you with this whole thing that maybe the villain was actually a hero of sorts. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. This book, you can see like all the pages that I flagged, because I was jumping from theory to theory. I was like wondering who, because there's names. I think there's names at the beginning, of the chapters. It has a chapter number or whatever, like chapter 7. And so there will be a new name introduced, and you're like, who is this person? So at first I was like, okay, this is too many points of view. These are too many people to keep up with. But it turned out not to be different people at all. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with that. But it was just really good. It was a story where, again, you will pretty quickly start to piece things together, but I don't think that the big twist and why the person was doing the things they were doing, I don't think you'll get that. I don't think you'll get that until the author is ready for you to get it, like at the end when it's revealed. But Selena, she is one of these people that just very high achieving. She wants this idyllic life because of how she grew up and something that happened between her parents. So she was trying to have a different outcome for her own life. And the thing that I always find interesting about situations like that, I feel like a lot of people can overcome trauma. I feel like a lot of people have overcome trauma. But I feel like when you are doing it in the hopes or the place of rewriting something, from your past, or trying to, have a better outcome, I don't know. It seems like you end up repeating those same mistakes, and you end up in the same situation, that from the family that you were trying to escape. Now, is that your family? And I don't know how that happens, but you hear that all the time, that sometimes, like, maybe a man that had a very overbearing mother, or had a complicated relationship with his mother, that he maybe ends up marrying a woman with some of those same traits. Same thing with women. If their father was abusive, or he was, had substance abuse problems or whatever, they sometimes end up marrying their fathers, and it's just very interesting to me how that dynamic happens, and it could be, this is just my thoughts, because you did not get what you needed from that particular parent, and maybe you're trying to recreate something where you get love from this person who kind of mirrors the type of person your parent was, but you think you're going to have a different outcome. That is you need to be in a therapist chair for a long, long time type stuff. if that is the goal going in, because it's just mind-blowing how a lot of people, it's like the sins of the father. You just repeat these patterns, and then your children repeat the patterns. So it was a little bit of that going on in here as well. Just, very entertaining read. I feel like if you like books that keep you guessing, various points of views, various timelines, and characters that aren't who they seem. And I mean that, like, not even in a way where, oh, I thought this person was nice, or I thought they were a good person. No, I mean like grifter type stuff. Okay. If you like stories like that, then I think you would really enjoy Confessions on the 745. It was just so much going on in this book. How ironic. I turned to this one page. I was looking to see a page that I had flagged. This, what I was just talking about, listen to this, what I flagged. But mainly, people were so wrapped up in their own inner hurricane that they never saw anything outside the storm of themselves, right? So, I think that's this particular passage, and I was looking right above it, it has to do with how people try to fix things, or people or circumstances, that are out of their control at the end of the day, or they want to do a redo or makeup for something, but they never look at themselves. They never look at maybe, and I'm not saying that somebody's the problem if they were abused or they had a tragic childhood. I'm not saying that at all. But a lot of times people try to put band-aids on things. That's an issue. That's a real thing. And until you either deal with that, accept it, heal from it, move on, or whatever, there's a chance that you could fall into some patterns that are not necessarily healthy. Because like this book that I'm reading says, wherever you go, there you are. You take all of the suppressed trauma, all of the suppressed needs, you take all this stuff with you into every situation you go into if you don't look at yourself. And I think that probably comes from, people having like a victim mentality. They look at things that were done to them, and even though they survived it, I think that they're kind of mired down in the fact that it happened in the first place. And I know that some things are just not like easy to just get over it or whatever. But I think maybe focusing more on the survival aspect of it, maybe on the how do I avoid this in the future, or, and what I mean by that is like, maybe being in situations or relationships or environments that could cause me harm. I mean, some things are beyond your control, but I think that there are a lot of things that we can control, and some of us feel helpless. And so we try to fix up things that we know are not working, because Selena, she gave her husband way too many chances. Way too many chances. Okay. And like I said, her dad was like that with her mom. So, girl, what is you doing? What is you doing? Okay. Anyway, if you have read Confessions, I feel like I just went off on a tangent, but if you have read Confessions on the 745, I would love to know your thoughts. Am I the only one that went crazy kind of with the annotations? This wasn't my first book by this author. I read a short story, and I can't remember the name of it. I have to put it here. It was a Christmas short or novella. It was so good, and I was like, who is this woman? So this was like my actual first full-length novel by her. So if you guys have any recommendations from this author, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate your time and attention listening to me ramble. Make sure that you like this video. And if you have not taken the opportunity to do so yet, go ahead and do it now. Subscribe to my channel. And thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.